SMTN.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network Link 301. I'm your host, coming to you from the future and the past again, because I love to make episodes and put them out in crazy order, so you'll probably know when you're listening to this better than I am right now in this moment, but I am your host, Spencer Presley, and joining me from inside the giant life-size pen box is Robert from Pinbox himself. Robert, how are you doing today?
I'm not too bad. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking here or there in very secretive Twitter DMs for a while, and I remember, God, how long ago was it when you guys teased you were working with SMT5? I don't even know if you guys were teasing it first. I think you guys were pretty much just like, hey, it's happening.
Yeah, we definitely said just outright, we were like, hey, we're going to be working
Oh my
on
lord,
this.
it was
We're gonna be doing...
May of last
was
year.
it May? I'm just going back through. May 28th. So it's pretty much June. Let's say June. It makes me feel better.
I bet you were a different Robert back then of June of last year. You were like, oh, here's the plan, here's what's happening, this is the world I live in, nothing will change.
So many spreadsheets that have just been torn up.
But yeah, so for anyone out there who might want to know, first off, who are you, and what the heck is a pen box?
That's a good question. So my name is Robert Stock. I'm the owner and creator of Pinbox, a company that specializes in enamel pins in collectors' boxes. Since its inception, we've kind of strayed a little bit away from just pins in boxes, but that's really what we kind of focus on. It's what we kind of specialize in, and everything we sell is fully licensed. So it's all got the developer seal of approval on it. And yeah, I mean, we've been going, I think we're coming up to 3 years as Pinbox. Before Pinbox, it ran by a different name and was kind of just a weekend project for me. So, but in total, we're probably looking around 5 years now.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I've been kind of doing this. So yeah, I mean, it's been a long road.
Well, I was glad when I first found out about you guys, one of two things. One, that you were somehow not actually a subsidiary of Falcom, contrary to what your website would make me believe. And two, that you guys are, like, doing other things outside. Like, it is nice that, like, you have that thing you're known for with, like, the numbered individual pin boxes and stuff. But also, then, like, it's not just that. Like, if you guys want other stuff like shirts, posters, whatnot.
Yeah. No, our mainstay has certainly been Falcom for quite a while. And it's kind of funny, actually. When we started working with Falcom, they were nowhere near the size they are in the West that they are today.
Yeah, you got to get them when they're small. You got to get them. You got to get them when they're being hit on the head for business decisions. Like, are you sure you don't want to do this and do that? Like, yes, like, it's okay. Just keep working with whoever.
Pretty much. It's been interesting, actually, over the years to see other companies like get licenses with Falcom and start like putting out like vinyl records and soundtracks and all sorts of stuff that's just been coming out since. And I don't know, we've just always been around. So it's kind of fun.
Well, you mentioned this kind of starting like as like a weekend project for you. Like, did this mostly come like through you feeling like there was like a gap in like the collector's market of like you wanted to kind of do this stuff, or like was it like what kind of sparked the idea of like you wanting to do this?
Okay, so if you want to go like way back to the dawn of time, then it actually came around looking for I believe it was was it a Christmas present or a birthday present? I can't remember. It was one of the two. I was looking for a Christmas present for my wife, and she was going through a phase where she just loved pin badges. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll just like get her some pins for Christmas. Happy days. One of her favorite franchises of all time is a game called Sly Cooper, which sadly has been kind of left behind by Sony these days. But nevertheless, that's like her favorite game of all time. And I was like, oh, I'll just get some Sly Cooper pins. They don't exist.
Well, especially if you're wanting official ones, for sure.
Oh yeah, like they just don't exist. End of story. I mean, even unofficial ones just don't exist. So I was like, oh, all right, well, I mean, how much is it to just make a pin? Well, it turns out you can't just buy one pin. You have to like buy like 100. So I ended up with 100.
I hope somewhere you can send me a picture of the Sly Cooper pin. I am a huge Sly Cooper fan, so I'm dying of like, was it just the logo? Was it the Thievius Raccoonus? Was it just a life-size Bentley head? Like, what could this pin have been?
I have one behind me actually.
The OG. It's the original, like Necrotic Zero.
I actually have like an OG behind me. So yeah, I ended up with like 100 of these pins, and so Christmas rolls around, and I'm like, hey, there you go. She's like, oh wow, where'd you get that? It's like, yeah, funny story about that. I may have another 99 of those.
And they're looking for a
She's like,
chest/good home.
So at that point, I did what any self-respecting person who definitely 100% wasn't breaking copyright laws, and I sold it on Etsy.
I mean, hey, at least it wasn't Redbubble. No shade to Redbubble, but I feel like Etsy at least doesn't have that much that bad of a reputation as Redbubble does.
Yeah, so that was that, and they just they sold slowly but surely, and I was like, all right, and I just put all the money to one side. I just put it into a little bank account, and I mean, it wasn't a lot. Don't get me wrong, But yeah, that was kind of that, and then, I was like, oh, with this money, I could like make more Sly Cooper pins. That will, surely make my wife happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and I did the faces of Bentley, Sly, and Murray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I did that, and then it kind of just like spiraled a little bit, where it was like, oh, this is like becoming more of a thing. And then I was like, but I didn't really like the fact that it wasn't licensed. And I was like, well, this isn't really something I really want to do long term, because sooner or later there's going to be a knock on the door, a letter through the post.
Shuhei Yoshida's coming with the cease and desist himself. He's ready to bring you down.
Oh yeah, and well, let's be honest, I wouldn't have a leg to stand on. So I was like, okay, well, like who could I approach? And it was Neon Falcon. And looking back, I have absolutely no idea what they were thinking when they replied and said, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I get, because you said this is a different ease at the time. There's a different Neon Falcon. Like, so are we talking like do you remember the year? Is this like pre Ease 8, post Ease 8? Like, where are we at?
I want to say it was 2017.
Oh, so that would have been literally right when we got Ease 8, like in the West. Okay, yeah, that would have been right at that precipice of them kind of really getting a lot bigger and stuff with it. So that's really, really funny. So then I'm assuming, did you just go directly to like their like communications team in Japan, or did you like try and go through like NIS and then find them, or like did you like what step did you go to actually get to Falcom proper?
So I went on the website and I just grabbed the first email that I found there in the most professional way possible that you could do such a thing. And if you're sat there thinking, well, surely, you had this fully formulated business plan and had it professionally translated into Japanese and, sent it along with tributes and no, it was literally just a plain text English email saying, hey, like we'd like to do some licensing stuff. And
I've been subject to those, quite a few of those myself, so do not worry. I'm going to send this in English and hope that, just assume/pray that someone here probably has any idea of what I'm saying, and then maybe if no one replies back, I'll send one in Japanese.
Yeah. I have no idea why they even entertained, because I was, it was a nothing thing, at the time it wasn't even a company, so
I think honestly that definitely goes more to like who Falcom is as like a company. Like they're definitely, I feel like they've always been really willing to work and license out their property to other companies. Like I always go back to think of like Ys Origins, like how much leeway they've always given .emu with that. Of like, that's basically, people mostly view that as a .emu game more than a Falcom game, just because of how much that they've been licensing and like porting and bringing that game around for years and years and years of something that used to just be like a random spin-off.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that presence in the West hasn't always been what it is today. And there's certainly been some pretty rocky times throughout the years.
Oh yeah, I mean, like even with publisher changing, like even like going into Cold Steel, like I was just talking about recently with like one of the voice actors from it, of like, it's like there's not even a way, like at least as of now, there will never be a here's the Trails of Cold Steel complete set, because like it's split between two different companies.
I know. it's brutal. You'd think they'd kind of like talk to each other and be like, hey, look, we know this isn't ideal, but like we could both make money from this, but they just don't seem to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, I feel like outside of a buyout, I don't know how that's ever going to happen, just because both of those companies are so like, and I mean, I understand, like working on getting one of these games out is such a like Herculean task that to just to eventually just give it to another company, like I can't imagine that's an easy thing for them to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of red tape. And
but you must have been ecstatic. So then, when you heard back, were you like, "Oh my god, is this real?" Like, what the heck was going through your head?
Well, yeah, I mean, that was it. It was like, oh, well, no. The first thing that went through my head was, I don't know what this says, because they replied in Japanese. So I'm just there like, huh, okay, is this how they felt? I get it now. All right, fair play. So you run it through your classic Google Translate, and yeah, and they were just like, basically like, yeah, that's fine. Basically these are our terms. And then where's the effective, like, just let us know type of thing. And so I was like, okay, cool. And so from there, it was a pretty swift process. And our first Falcon product were actually some Ys logos. They are exceedingly rare.
Is it weird, by the way, like to have made a product that now like goes for like much more than double of what you originally ever sold it for? Like, I always think about that, like, because I'm a big collector myself of like physical stuff. Of like, I can't ever imagine working on something like I recently actually like I signed a cover for something for the first time in my life, and outside of triple checking because I was 100% degrading the value of this thing by putting my handwriting over it, I was thinking at the same time I was like, what if in some weird way, like, somebody's like, oh my god, I gotta sell this now because this has been signed. It's like, I can't ever imagine that, like putting something out into the world and then being like, I'm gonna resell this because this is how valuable this is. Like, what a weird feeling that is.
You know what? I've never actually seen any of our products go on, like, eBay or something.
Not yet. Not until this show.
Not.
Macari sales are through the roof, guys.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I honestly, I've no idea what people will be willing to pay. Like, because they're nothing. Like, I don't know. Like, but they were all individually numbered. Um, and I think there was only like 70 of like each metal type made.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, that is really tiny.
It was like a super small run, and I remember I posted on the Falcom subreddit, and basically there was this guy, and he just replied. He was like, "Oh, another knockoff." Falcom wouldn't waste their time with this no-name company to do such a small run.
Always optimistic on the internet. Everyone's always
And
always a
honestly,
believer.
I was like witch hunted by that subreddit, because no one believed it was legit. Like, and it was only when the mods got involved and I sent them a copy of my like contract that they were like, "Oh, we are so sorry."
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, no one could believe it was actually a thing. But yeah, after that we did some more pins, and it got to a point where it wasn't a weekend thing anymore. It got to a stage where it was like I was coming home from work, and I was having to deal with shipping orders or customer support or whatever it was that needed to be done. And my wife turned around to me and she was like, "What is going on with this? Because this used to just be like a little thing you did for fun at the weekend, That's clearly not what this is now."
And then you sat her down and said, "Honey, much like Sly Cooper 5, I have bad news for you."
Well, that was the thing, and it was the point where I was like, okay, well, I got to decide what I actually want to do here. And so I sat down and I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna like do this, like I'm gonna actually full on go for this, like, am I happy with how things are right now? And the answer I came to was no. Like, I wanted it to be more. And that was where basically Pinbox came from. Was the idea that not only is it a pin, but it's actually like something that you can collect, you can display it, you can do something with it, Because I'd see people doing all sorts of things, like just trying to like display their pins, and I'm like, shouldn't it just come in like packaging where you can like just like look at it? So yeah, that was the start of that. And then in the greatest timing of all time, I decided to do that, and COVID hit.
I can't tell if this would make a thing of like COVID. I'm not sure how it would affect your business right away. Ironically, the only one where I'm like, I can imagine like the Suez Canal thing screwing your job over way more than COVID, like in terms of like shipping and manufacturing. But like that doesn't actually lead to a quick question I was going to bring up. Where do you get these printed at?
The depends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically they're made in China. For the simple reason, because I actually didn't want to go to China. I wanted to have something local, with the idea being that I could basically just drive there.
Honestly, like I've worked in print for years, like working with like printing materials, like boxes, paper, and other things. Like enamel pins is one where it's so out of my wheelhouse of things like I wouldn't know about. Like I wouldn't even know like where or if people even do domestic like pin printing. So you're like I have no shade at all for it being like wherever it is printed. So like, were you able to find anyone even like who like even kind of entertained the idea like relatively nearby, or like what was that like search like?
Well, it was very short lived, to be quite honest, because there's not that many companies in the UK that do enamel pin manufacture, and the ones that do have a limit to how many colors they'll actually use for the enamel filling. And at the time, our designs had anything from, I think it was around 7 to 14 colors. They capped out at 5.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be
So,
limiting and depressing at the same time.
oh yes. And so yeah, it just wasn't really a thing. And even when I like moved my search worldwide, I spoke to a lot of manufacturers, and a lot of them just said no. Like, and even when I was like, no, I'm willing to like pay like a premium price, and they were just like, no. It's just not worth the time.
Yeah, because you're
It's so
probably, especially
complex.
as a smaller company, you're probably not wanting to immediately print like
Oh,
100,000 of these or whatever. Like you're doing
oh, for
much
sure.
smaller print runs, which obviously is going to be more expensive for you and more time for them, where they're used to doing these bulk orders. Here's a random company logo, make 9 million pens, so I never have to think about it again.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not like we're Disney or something, where they're just printing I don't even know how many. I assume tens of thousands.
If I actually don't know this, but I'm surprised I'm not as big of a Disney fan as I am. I would hope that Disney has to, for sure, have a company who just does their pins. Because at the output of how many they do, I would be so shocked if it's just done through just anyone.
I can give some insight.
Please
Here.
do, please.
When I was looking around, a lot of these factories, when they're advertising themselves, they advertise themselves basically saying like, "Oh, hey, okay, this might come off the wrong way, but bear with me. They basically sell themselves as, hey, look, we aren't child labor."
Oh, I mean, hey, these days I understand. You gotta let them. You gotta let them know.
Yeah, and they back that up by saying, "Hey, look, we've been vetted by these companies," and Disney was one that came up quite a lot. And so pure speculation from here. I wonder whether Disney contracted a bunch of them and basically just pit them off against each other.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Get a lower
yeah.
price. You get a lower price. Because you can be like, oh, well, that factory over there said they'll do it for that. So at which point the other factory's going to go, oh, well, we can beat that. And you see how it just kind of snowballs from there.
Yep. And then it's just a race to the bottom for sure.
It seems like a Disney size thing to do. Yeah, but no, honestly, I saw Disney a lot of Disney certificates, like that they like vetted the place, and I can't remember the wording it was, but it was basically, this is like a decent work condition,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, we eventually found a manufacturer that was happy to do that, and then once we'd persuaded them to do ludicrous amounts of colors, I think the record is, oh boy, I don't know. I think we had one that had like over 30 colors in the enamel.
I mean, yeah, especially when you get to like some of these like different characters and stuff. Yeah, their palettes are just all over the place.
Yeah, especially the XLs. The Ease 8 ones particularly are just insane. Yeah, I can't even. Yeah, it's honestly just the amount of colors on some of those is crazy. And then on top of that, we do the print to get in the details that we couldn't get on the like base enamel. So there's a lot that goes into that side of things.
So I'm a little surprised I haven't actually asked this yet. So just because we're doing audio only, which makes the best case for showing off the size and the print quality of a product.
Oh yeah.
For your normal standard pen box, the like square ones for like how large would you kind of say that is, or how what would you compare it to size wise for a pen?
Okay, so the square ones, the standard size ones, they'll go 1.75 inches, which is 4 roughly 4.5 centimeters.
Gotcha. I appreciate you measuring it for us. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean that is a question we get a lot. It's like, oh no, inches, and they're like, nah, give us centimeters, please. I'm trying to think of what it would compare to. Like, I don't know, maybe like
I would say at that point it's
double A
definitely
battery?
larger. It's definitely larger than like a standard like larger like button or something like that with it, but it's not like the XL. I'm assuming so for the XL ones, would you say it's comparable or smaller or larger to the only other comparison one I always think of when I look at them are those Fig pens.
Sure. Okay, so Fig Pen, it depends because they do.
Oh yeah,
they do
Fig pen does have horrifyingly large sizes. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they've like changed it now. It used to be the case where it would be a pretty good comparison, but like now they do like XLs and then XXXLs, and I don't know. They had one that was like $150 or something.
It was so large, I'm like, no one's actually using this as a pen, but I appreciate them for at least still making it so it could hypothetically be pinned to something. I don't know, the world's largest like cork board you're gonna find this thing to.
I'm on their website now, and they don't even list the size of the pins on the listings.
It's too insane now. Although, like, I always wonder. And I'd be curious, like, what you know about this since I'm so much newer to Pinbox. Like, I've always assumed if you're buying something like a Funko Pop or a Fig Pen, you're not taking it out of the box. You're leaving it in there. But for Pinbox, like, what have you really noticed in terms of like people who buy them? Like, how much are like people leaving them in the box for a display piece versus like actually using them?
So most people leave them in the box. They'll just
Cowards.
put them. But I mean, that was kind of the idea of Pinbox, you know, because it was like people wanted to have these collections, but there was just no way of really showing them.
Oh, I mean, listen, you did the evil necessary thing with any collectible market. You put a number on the box.
I did.
You're gonna tell me I'm gonna buy? And you did the smart thing too. Did you put Adol as number 1? Nope. You put him as number 2, so someone's gonna go, oh god, I need number 1 now. Number 3? I gotta get number 3. And then we're up to the 20s, and then we get like so it's that thing of like you kind of gotta like know it's like the right buttons to push to get FOMO, but not enough that they're gonna crash and burn and be like, I can't do this.
Yeah, we didn't go whole hog with the number in like Figpin, where like they'll just put.
Do you want number 1061 Hello Kitty sparkly gold version, but not without the hat? I've got you covered.
Yeah, it's right next to the Mandalorian.
As it should be on the shelf. I line them up that way as it should be.
Yeah, like that I draw the line at that because like no one's doing that. Like it doesn't even make sense. So like our numbers reset per license essentially. So Shin Megami Tensei has like its own line. So yeah, it will start from 1. So
now,
if you've got no interest in anything else at all, then you're fine.
Now I've heard. Now I don't think it's too late for us in the printing or the approvals process. Are we able to get all of the numbers to be Roman numerals for the SMT5 boxes?
You know, that's really good. I should have thought about that.
It was just one of those funny things I was thinking of. It was like, yeah, this is not a series that uses 1, 2, and 3. They use those hilarious Roman numerals.
You know what? You're absolutely right.
I'm sorry. I'll go back to May. I'll go back to May and tell you this.
I'll message my designer and tell him just how disappointed I am.
Be like, this bum in Kansas came up with this idea. What are you what are you doing over there?
I thought you were a professional.
Oh my god! But no, I mean, listen, that is especially, and like I'm sure you've had those moments 900 times of like any creative work you ever do. It's like there's like some little evil demon in the back of our brains. As soon as something is too late to be changed, fixed, or corrected, in most cases you're gonna get a brilliant idea. That's oh god, why didn't I think of that for this?
Oh, for sure. I look back at some of our early work as Pinbox, and I hate it.
Really?
Like, I hate some of our early stuff. Like,
I'm
I'm not gonna say what.
I'm very
Stuff under
self-deprecating,
the
but like thankfully
But,
I
like,
don't have that in my brain of like I look at the worst things I've done and I just laugh at myself and I think, oh, look how far I've come, as opposed to like because like there are especially people out there who like do a lot of like content they've been putting out there of like, oh yeah, like they'll delete videos or hide older like things like, oh, I hate how I sound, or oh, this was so stupid, or oh my god, I can't believe you legally said that on a public forum. Like, I have so many things I should have probably hidden over the years, but it's like I like to think of my life as just a really sad time capsule that if someone was really interested and you could just see the slow decline of humanity in me over the last decade plus.
yeah, I mean, oh boy, I mean, it's one of those though, because like becomes a line where, like, I kind of worry that if like someone stumbles on Pinbox and the first thing they see is like some of the really early stuff, it's like, it's like, do I really want that to be the first impression for what it is today? It's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer here is. What do you do?
I mean, yeah. Although, I mean, hey, you guys at least have had, because I was going to ask when I was doing some research, I saw you've at least had a revision from some of your earlier pens and stuff. Like, did that come through changing the printing process or manufacturing, or like, what did that really come about from?
Okay, so it came around for a couple of reasons. It was stuff that we'd sold out of, and we didn't have access to the molds anymore. So when we make a pin, we have a mold cast, and that's like the base building block of the whole pin, and we didn't have access to them anymore. So it kind of became a question of, right, well, what do we do here? Because on the one hand, you can just say, well, there we go, that's it, we've sold out. Like, if you missed it, then tough. But on the other hand, I mean, I like to try and keep availability where I can, especially when these things are numbered. So if you've like only just discovered us and you love the latest E set and you want to go back and you want to complete that, well, if we've sold out of 1 to 3, then like you're just never going to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I always figure that sucks. But at the same time, we can't make any more of that exact pin because we don't have the mold anymore. So at that point, we've got two options. We can either say, okay, well, make a mold as absolutely close to this one, to this pin as possible. Or, I mean, at that point, we're having to remake it anyway. We can use what we've learned since doing that first run and just improve on it. And I opted for the latter.
No, yeah, definitely. I can see where we're coming from with that one. Plus, like the nice thing is, you guys don't have like something like a lot of other companies that are like kind of working with collectibles really go. And I'm sure this comes from like your size as like a benefit of like if you ever sold out of something. It's not like, well, that was it. You'll never have a chance. There's never going to be an alternate world where we make more of these or have a different version available later in the line for it. Like, where like the goal isn't like, oh, there's 500 and we're only going to sell 500. Like for you guys, I'm sure most of it is just like, hey, we do pre-orders for a reason. We want to get as many of these into as many people's homes as possible.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a couple of exceptions that we've done. And that's for stuff that just doesn't make sense otherwise. So for an example, we did a pin of the 40th anniversary crest for Neon Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense to restock that past the 40th anniversary.
No, yeah, for sure.
I mean, like, it just, like, oh, they're 42 now. Oh, yeah, we'll restock the 40. It just doesn't make sense, and at that point, I'd rather just do one run. Once it's gone, it's gone. And whenever we do that, it is very clearly labeled as limited edition. We're very clear on the marketing of like once this is gone, it is gone. But we do tend to try and keep that to stuff that just doesn't make sense otherwise. You know,
for sure.
So yeah.
Now, I'm surprised I haven't actually asked you this yet. So I'm gonna do my hardest to trickle away from the Falcom talk because I could wax them off all day. But for you, I was curious. So, what made you think of contacting them out of all these companies to work with?
So I knew, like, if I was to try and like email Square Enix, it's not going to happen.
Never say never.
You know,
shoot your shot.
Wow, one day. I mean, if anyone's listening, please email me. But no, I mean, I knew I had to be realistic, and let's be honest. I mean, even Neon Falcon was a stretch considering where we were at that time. So, you know, it was one of those where I was like, okay, well, it makes sense to try and go for a smaller, lesser known company, because they're more likely to want to work with us, and it's more likely that I might find just a niche of people who want merchandise that, you know, they can't get hold of.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of narrowing it down from there. And I knew of Neon Falcon because I played Trails in the Sky.
Oh, that was your first one, huh?
Yep, first chapter.
Thank you, Ghostlight Games, R.I.P. Not the company, just R.I.P. You guys working. No, actually, no, that's not true. I always forget about that. So Ghostlight published them over in Europe for you guys. But most people don't actually know this. Did you know that Ghostlight actually does most of the PC and Switch ports for Falcom games?
I have seen the name on the Steam page. I know that much.
But yeah,
I'm not too surprised to hear that. But yeah, I mean, publishing was just all over the place back then.
Well, yeah, God, especially with tits. I mean, Jesus, like by the time like you got to 2, it felt like a miracle, and then we realized, oh God, we still have a third game to get to.
Yeah, I mean, oh boy, I was kind of fortunate in the way that like I didn't pick the series back up again for ages, so I didn't have like this huge wait like everyone else. But yeah, I mean, I played that. I really enjoyed it. And I thought, oh, well, you know, there are loads of characters here. And, you know, I think, let's face it, if you've played more than one Trails game, you probably enjoy the characters. I think that's fair to say.
For sure.
So I was like, okay, cool. You know, let's... and it stuck in my head, the Bracer badge. That always stuck in my head. And I was like, oh, that'd be really cool if you could have like a physical like metal Bracer badge. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, actually, I'm thinking at this point, because the inception of your company, I'm trying to line this up here, with Trails of Cold Steel 1, how much were you inspired by, and I'm completely gonna forget the name of this one, I gotta sort it, because I just had it up here, it was old... And bring it here. Here we go. Yes, the Empire emblem from Trails of Cold Steel 1, I always remember because that was given away in the like deluxe collector's set from Exceed and stuff. Like when you guys were doing that pen, like were you kind of just like, hey, let's try and like make more of these, because like that's an interesting case of like you guys doing a pen that had already previously been like put in a collector's set before.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one half of it. Because obviously once they were sold out, that's it then, you know. Typically collector's editions don't get reprinted. It's very rare for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, availability is always a nice thing. And I knew that ours would be different. So the one that you got in the collector's edition, it's actually like a plastic one. And it's like got like that kind of like bubble, like squishy material over it, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't have one because they're really rare and really expensive. But like that one is basically, I think it's a plastic back. Don't quote me.
The back is plastic. I'm holding it right now in my hand right now.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's printed. The whole thing's printed.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
So I knew that ours would be metal. So.
Well, that's a much better story than me bringing it up and you being like, well, actually, I just bought them wholesale and there were 1,000 left over at Exceed, so we just shipped off the rest of them, chucked them in a box, and gave them away.
Afraid it's not that easy. If only. If only. So yeah, I mean, it was just a case where I was like, well, I mean, it makes sense. And people seem to like the emblems, I guess. It's something we get a lot of requests to go back to doing because we've done characters for quite a while now. If you are listening, don't worry. It's cooking. It's cooking. Give it time.
It's not just Ryan and waifus for days.
No. We'll sort you out. Don't worry.
So I appreciate you. We've done what might be the world's thickest opening of all time. There's a nice 30 plus minute opening. But yes, guys, welcome. Oof. This is still the Shin Megami Tensei podcast, so we will dip our toe back into Atlas because you tried bringing us over, but my Falcom brain rot it couldn't do it.
It happens.
My final thing I wanted to say though, because I don't know if you guys enjoy doing this, I always appreciate a good April Fool's product. If you guys ever want, and I know Falcom will say yes to this because of the IP I'm about to tell you. Okay. But if you wanted a great April Fool's joke, which definitely would not happen in the next 3 months because there's not enough time. But if you ever want to think of a good 2024 April Fool's joke, just think of anything from Tokyo Xanadu and do a April Fool's line. Because I guarantee 5 people remember that game, but much more than 5 would buy it.
You know, it's weird. It was only I think it was a week ago. We actually put a post out basically being like, you know, would you be interested in Tokyo Xanadu stuff? Because
really? I'm ashamed I missed that. I'm very ashamed actually I missed that.
We do actually get more kind of messages of hey, it'd be really cool if you did that. So I'm not against the idea. Certainly not. But it's one of those because, you know, I mean, we'd have to go back to the table regarding licensing and, you know, there would be a lot of things that had to happen.
It would make a couple of Japanese salarymen very happy though. They finally will get to be like, oh my god, our least successful IP in years, someone's finally wanting to do something with it. Thank God. That's what I would take away from it.
You might get that sequel that you all want so badly. Maybe.
I mean, listen, never say never with anything, especially with random, obscure Japanese RPGs. There's literally nothing you can say it will never not happen, because we live in a world where if Deadly Premonitions 2 can happen, anything can happen.
That is true. I can't argue that logic.
But yeah, speaking of things that definitely do get sequels, no shade, Tokyo Xanadu, I do love you. You guys did the impossible, and by the impossible I mean you're the only one I know who've done it yet so far, and are working with Atlas for some upcoming SMT5 merch and pens, and you told me there's a good story here. So you've got your big boy pants on, you've got the Falcom bump, you've got that riding on your back. We don't want to talk to Square Enix yet. Nothing wrong with Square Enix, but we know they're probably going to say a no first.
They ignore my emails.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we'll move on.
So where do we go from that? Are we pestering Sonic the Hedgehog's Twitter account? Are we sliding into Sega of Europe's DMs? Are we just like what happened to get to this point now?
Okay. First and foremost, I do not condone my own actions. Okay, this is not life advice. Do not do what I did. Okay.
Writing it down.
It is. Yeah, don't do this. Don't write this down. Write this down under a list of things what not to do. Okay. So basically, with licensing, it's very much just who you speak to.
For sure.
Because ultimately, it's generally one person that's going to make a decision whether or not to kind of push you forward for doing something and get it approved by the rest of the team, and just ignoring the email that you sent them. You know, so it's very much the case where it's just literally down to the person that picks up your message. And if they've had a bad day, woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and they don't like a single line in there, then you're done. So you got to find people that are actually working there. And it's weird. A lot of these companies, they're really hard to find people. I don't know if it's different now, but when I was looking for a contact for Atlas, you just can't find one. You can find like a generic like contact email. They never reply.
Yep.
I don't even think they know like who they would even refer you to, so they just ignore you.
Yep.
So like so it's really difficult to find like an actual person, or the correct email address, because even the email addresses where it's like, oh, licensing at the company name.com, you never get a reply. Like I don't know, like I don't even know why they exist. Like I haven't emailed one and had one reply, so you've got to find a person, and that's where we get kind of shady in tactics, because
you then got to find out whose house am I sneaking out in front of.
You gotta start stalking people, for lack of a better word. And so I found some poor, unsuspecting guy who worked for Sega. And I mean, Sega owns Atlas, right? I mean,
yeah, I always have to repeat this to people. I'm sorry to tell you guys, Atlas West is actually just Sega. I don't know. Sit down. Santa's not real, and Sega is actually just Atlas. I'm sorry to tell you.
But it's weird though. Sega own Atlas, but Atlas are treated as a separate company.
They are. In Japan, it's much more cut and dry. It is in Japan. They are still owned by each other, Sega Sammy, but they're two very different. Like, well, at least in terms of like the way they make games and like handle stuff with it. If I want to find, if I have a question for Atlas Japan, Sega will not pop up at any point. If I have a question for anything Atlas in the West, I have to go through Sega.
Yeah. I mean, I can't go into like super details, NDAs and all that fun stuff, but I can say from my experience, like it's definitely under the Sega umbrella in the West, but when it's dealing with like internally, there is kind of this split where like Atlas is kind of its own little section inside. So I don't know if they're trying to follow how Japan does things. It might just be for the sake of communication between like internal teams.
Oh yeah, and I mean, and then plus like you're then even now, and you're then even in that whole other world of then licensing is then it's a whole other set of emails and chains and everyone else as well. Like there are moments though, I will say, where I look at things that are officially licensed, quote unquote, from Atlas, and I go, I want to see some proof on this. Because I don't know if you've seen this. There's officially licensed Persona, I think it was like H&M. And their only piece of merchandise they have, it is just a plain white t-shirt with a JPEG of Morgana on it. And that's it. That's I don't actually believe anyone licensed that. Like that's what I'm like. I think someone just threw that on there and is like, we'll see if we get sued. But I'm like, I can't believe that's actually licensed.
It's not worth it. I can tell you that right now. For one T-shirt, I don't know. Maybe it's H&M. Like
it must have been like there was some random deal, and they were like, "And you get one random shirt from this company. What do you want to do?" And they're like, "Throw the cat on the white T-shirt. I guess we'll call it 30 and end of the day."
All right. I mean, sure. I mean, if that's what the people want.
No,
they just want to.
It was not.
They want a cat on a shirt, then like happy days, I suppose.
But yeah, so who's this poor person? Like what poor like janitor did you have to harass to get into their offices after hours? What happened here?
So basically, I started snooping around LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn is pretty good. Not that I condone this, by the way. But it is pretty good for finding people who work at companies and are doing certain things. Because you'll find people who love to like say who they are at companies on LinkedIn. So you can start to narrow down the field. The closest I got was Sega. But I was like, hey, surely, they got contacts. They know what's up.
Mm-hmm.
You message someone on LinkedIn, though, I mean, you're probably not going to reply. So then you got to start digging a little deeper. And don't ask me how, but I found this guy's personal email address. And so I just email him.
Shoot your
And
shot.
I'm like,
What's the
and I'm
worst they're
like,
gonna say?
and I'm like, hey, I realize this is slightly unorthodox. However, I would very much like to speak to Atlas about making some very nice pins. Please, thank you very much. Much love. And to be fair, he replies, and he says, "Hi, thanks for your email. Can you send this to my work email?" It's and then just puts the work email.
Trying to keep out the clutter, please. Can we move this to the professional email, please?
And
Big
I'm like,
Big
okay.
Hedgehog Lover 68 at Yahoo is only for the important stuff.
And so I'm like, oh, okay, it's game over. Like, I'm never hearing back. It's But then at the same time, I'm like, well, I mean, if it was game over, then he didn't have to reply to the email in the first place. He could have just
Honestly,
ignored it.
that is the thing. Is like, if you get the reply, that's the hardest part with Sega.
Oh, for
If you
sure.
just get the reply, you've already done the impossible. Everything else is just on a whim from there.
So I send an email to his actual work email address. What I do recommend you do that. And yeah, like a couple of days later, I got an email back that was basically a chain where like he'd forwarded it to someone else, and they'd done whatever they needed to do internally, and then the person who actually deals with that then gets back in touch with me. And so from that we set up a meeting, had a conversation, and it was quite interesting because I went in and I was aiming for Shin Megami Tensei. That was what I wanted. And that was also what they were thinking of having us do.
That's good, because you mentioned this earlier of like I didn't immediately want to start with like some like large AAA project, and like it's not even an insult to the brand how it's handled or what's out there outside of the H&M shirt. I will make fun of that for the rest of my life, but like there's just straight up too much Persona merchandise out there.
Yeah.
That if you came out, you could come out with the most hilarious, amazing, inappropriate, news-catching headline merchandise of all time, and most people would still look at it and go, oh, there's already a lot of Persona merchandise. And if there's one thing we learned after the 25th anniversary, holy mama bajamba, there's a lot of Persona merchandise out there.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And
you're just jumping into that field of, like, you're having so many competitors, there's eyes everywhere, you're just going to be basically fighting an upwards battle with yourself and other companies that, like, it's easier just to try and find that niche. And the best part is then, like I said, if you had just come out and said, we're collaborating with Atlas, and I'd be like, okay, cool. But because you specifically said SMT5, my ears perked up 10 times more just because of that.
Oh, for sure. And the thing is as well is that I love Persona, for the record. I have no issues with it as a franchise, but from a product and licensing standpoint, like, you're right, there is so much Persona merchandise on the market, and that's a good thing. I mean, obviously people enjoy it, obviously it's selling, great, fantastic, but it kind of comes to a point where it's like, okay, well, if let's say tomorrow I got the Persona license, like, what would I do with it? And that's always the first question whenever someone's like, oh, well, you should like work with this company on this license. The first thing I ask myself is, okay, what would I do that A, hasn't been done before, and B, isn't just basic?
Mm-hmm.
Realistically for Persona, like, I can't think of anything. It's been done.
I'm sorry, Figpin beat you to it. They're right there.
Figpin did Persona 5.
Actually, one of the things I always find funny, just again to prove my point of how much of an upwards battle this is, did you know Figpin started their limited, only certain amount of hundreds with Persona 5 because of how slow even they had a hard time selling Persona merchandise.
No, get out of it.
Seriously, their
Really?
first limited print pin for Fig Pin they ever did was either like Futaba or Ryuji or something, or it might have been like it was
Whoa.
one like because they had done Joker and they had done Arson, like they'd done the first like two or three, and they were really slow selling. And then by the time they got to the third or fourth Phantom Thief member, they were like, "Hey, we're doing something new. There's only 500, so please buy them." And even that didn't sell out immediately. And it was one of those things where it was like, yeah, it's like, and this is a much larger company. They got retail presence like all over the
Yes.
West and stuff. So it's like that goes to show again, it's not that there's anything wrong with the product. It's just that there's so much competition out there, and it's self-eating itself.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm trying to think like who. I think was it Fun Gamer? Fun Game? No, Fun Gamer did some Sanshi.
Yes, Sanshi does some. The
You've
Yeti
done
does
some.
some, and Eighth Arc also
Yeti.
does some.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, like, what can I do? I mean, sure, we have the box, and that's kind of like our unique selling point is that we have this box that has like awesome artwork on it. But for the pin itself, I honestly I don't know what I'd do. That hasn't already been done to some capacity, and at that point, I'd rather focus my efforts somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Which is where Shin Megami Tensei comes in, because everyone else missed a trick here, right? Shin Megami Tensei has loads you can do, because it has the demons.
Oh, see, that's funny. I was thinking, like, even just the thing of, like, yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, it's got the characters, the demons, the villains, the art, like, everything, like, again, the symbols. Like, honestly, like, you could probably just take the V from SMT5 and sell that as a pin, and I'd buy it.
I mean, probably. But yeah, I mean, like it's got all these demons, and the great thing about SMT is, a lot of these demons originate from SMT. I'm not even sure. Is there any like Persona exclusive demons?
Persona didn't really have any exclusives for a while. There were definitely some, like in the later ones, like you'd see like I was gonna say Puss in Boots, but you basically know what I mean. But like, because back in like with Persona 3 and 4, there was a lot more focus on the shadows and less the demons and stuff
sure.
itself. But yeah, there weren't exclusives for a long time because pretty much you were just using those base couple of demons from Shin Megami Tensei and then spreading it out through all the different spin-off games. But yeah, nowadays we definitely have some, but it's still much, like I would say 80% is still all based out of SMT.
Yeah. I mean, so there's just so many, and obviously you see these demons a lot when you've been playing the series as a whole. So you don't, even if you haven't even played SMT5 yet, chances are you're going to recognize a lot of the demons if you've played any of the other games in the series.
Now, I didn't even think about this one. Here's a weird one. I don't know if you've thought of. Please feel free to steal this idea. We can clip it out. Because a lot of your guys' art you all have done is mostly all been from a 2D perspective, which is ironic because like there is like pixel art from like the like trails in the East games and whatnot. Would taking something like making a pin out of some of that old Shin Megami Tensei like pixel art like be of an interest for you guys, or do you enjoy kind of taking the traditional 2D art, whether it be like the chibi or like the more detailed ones, the XL? Like, has that kind of interested you, or is that like not as much?
Okay, pixel art is really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
For the simple reason, to give you some context, so for the pins, to have a color, you have to have it surrounded by metal. So every color basically goes into its own little section. It has to have like a surrounding piece of metal. So you can't do like gradients, you can't do um, anything like that, and you can't have basically two colors touching. Like you have to have a piece of metal in between every single color. Now, with a lot of pixel art, some of them do have like black lines splitting it all up.
Hmm.
That's great. That's helpful. But a lot of it doesn't. It just has the colors right next to each other. You can't do that, and we trialed it. It looks terrible when you try and like actually force it in there. It just doesn't look good. So pixel art's a really really tricky one. In fact, we actually spoke to the Terraria guys for quite a while,
Oh, okay.
trying to figure out if we could make something happen, and like it just didn't work out in the end because just pixel art doesn't translate well. The only way you'd be able to do pixel art is by doing a pretty much pure print, and we're not a big fan of that either.
No, yeah, yeah. The quality is very, very different.
Yeah. So it's one of those, like, I'm not against it, but it's really going to come down to the design, and even then, it's really difficult to make it actually look good. So yeah, pixel art's a tricky one for sure.
So
We tend to do a lot of the chibis for the
Mhm.
simple reason it's what makes sense in the size.
True.
And the thing is, you'll browse the website and, you'll see everything on your, giant 32-inch monitor or, whatever you're browsing the web on. When you get it in your hand, it's very small by comparison, and it's something I have to actually remind the licenses a lot. They'll like give feedback and they're like, oh, hey, can you like change like this bit here? And I'm just like, you will not be able to see that with your naked eye. Like literally, like you will not be able to see it. Like you shrink down that image on your screen to the size of the actual pin. I guarantee you will not be able to see it. You will have to get literally a microscope out, and I honestly, I have to say that more times than you would think. And then, of course, the prototype's made, and they're like, oh yeah, I see what you mean.
That is too funny. Yeah, I can 100% see how that like comes up for sure. So then when you guys were like hearing back then from Atlas and stuff with it, like was your initial pitch just like, hey, like because obviously it'll be like, hey, we'd like to work with this license for your property. Like, do you have to like immediately kind of give them some examples, or is it mostly just showing off past work and saying like ballpark ideas before you go into? Because obviously it's not as simple as just like, hey, here you go, sign this, pay us this fee, and then go hog wild. Like it's nothing but like approvals for days and stuff on your end. So like, what's those kind of early sells to them really like?
Yeah, I mean, I can only speak for me personally. Obviously, depending on what you're doing with Atlas, I imagine the process could be slightly different. But for us, it was a case of, okay, basically get like I forget the word. Basically get a document together of what it is you are proposing. Like what exactly, are you intending to do with our license? Because they don't know you. You've got to go through everything from like scratch, so you got to explain to them, hey, look, we do pins and we do boxes. The pins go in the boxes. And you have to kind of like walk them through exactly what it is you're intending to do, why this is a good thing for that brand, why it's going to be, obviously beneficial for them to, spend their time doing all of this. And then, of course, you've also got to put sales forecasts, and you've got to, do all of that side of things. Once you've got all that together, then you can send it to them, and well, then you're waiting for feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes they'll send you back a form asking for more information, and you'll have to fill that in. But yeah, it's very much just a kind of back and forth at that point. They might want a clarification on something, or they might turn around and say, well, actually, we wouldn't let you do that. So we had some suggestions on what to do regarding marketing, even like back then. They were more just ideas at that point of like, hey, look, so it kind of just shows that like, hey, look, we have thought of this through. We kind of know roughly ish what we're doing. So and they'll get back and they'll say, well, actually, we wouldn't allow that because of this, that, or the other. But at that point, you're having the conversation, and that's always a good thing.
So, with you then, because obviously I'm still in the dark here. I'm not over here with I don't have my spreadsheet knowing exactly what you guys are doing, but you have teased a couple of things with it. Like, how did you sort of want to handle working with SMT5? Because I assume you probably had some prior experience playing the game beforehand. Like, were there moments of like, oh, we should definitely try and like recreate this or like make this and like. Where was your head at in terms of like not only like working with like the business but also like creatively?
So for us, well, for me personally, most of my experience from S&T was from Nocturne.
I appreciate you calling it the colloquial name.
Three from over the pond. I believe.
No, we don't call it we call it in this house. We only Nocturne, or if you want to feel fancy, you can put your pinky up and call it Lucifer's Call. Those are the only two we'll allow. We don't bring the 3 into this here. We're not Japan.
Lucifer's Call. Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's so yeah, a lot of my experience came from playing that game. Admittedly, quite a while back now. So. I mean, for me, it was kind of like, okay, well, like, I know there's a lot of awesome, demon designs, and that's the thing. As we were saying before, they've passed on as the time's gone through. I'll admit, I haven't finished 5 yet. My time is just non-existent, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But that kind of comes with the territory.
No, yeah.
But I wanted to kind of do stuff that like. Most people are going to recognize. That was always the idea. And for me, the demons make the most sense at that point.
For sure.
Because, like, they're recognizable, I would argue, to anyone who's played the series. So yeah, that was kind of the focus. And then it's kind of looking at, like, okay, well, we've got our standard line that are, the smaller pins and small boxes, and then we have the XL line, which are the bigger pins and bigger boxes. So then it becomes a question of, okay, like, where's that split, And I timed it. After we announced the partnership with Atlas, I timed how long it would be until someone said Maru.
Oh, you mean Mara?
Mara, sorry.
I mean, I'm sure there's a Maru demon somewhere I'm forgetting about, so I believe it. Now, did you time it with a timely response of a yes we are or a no we can't?
We did not reply. But I timed it. I timed how long it would take for someone to make that conclusion of their mind.
Well, because I'm just saying, my question wouldn't be, are you doing a Mara pen? I would say, is this the first double XL pen from Penbox? Because really, the girthier the better. Like, I can't imagine a normal Penbox Mara. Like, it would seem inappropriate, if anything.
It is inappropriate, isn't it? I mean...
Look at the veins we've created with this thing. We're breaking pin technology with this thing over here.
It was the first thing my designer said to me as well. He's like, I'm not doing the box. I can't do it. I can't design that box. Like,
well, I mean, if you want to get creative, you could really think, because Mara isn't really just, like, the testicles and everything else with it. Like, Mara's whole thing is, like, it's also the carriage. You could make the box like a carriage itself, put some wheels on it, and you could really go ham.
You could. I mean, it's, yeah. It took 3 minutes.
I'm gonna have to go through to the original post and try and frame that one. We'll print that one out and put it on the fridge.
Yeah, like it took 3 minutes until someone was like, "Maripin when?"
That's a discerning connoisseur right there. If that person now we've been beating around the bush, pun intended for sure. Are you gonna now look me in the eye and tell me there's not going to be a Mara pin? When's this thing coming? When can I throw my money at your Maras?
All right. You want me to level with you?
Please.
Okay, I'll level with you. Okay. There is no Mara pin as it stands today.
That's okay.
If you want the Mara pin, then you'll just have to tell me.
So now, is this from like we want to do it, but we don't want to do it right away, or was this because again, like I told you, I've talked to different like people who've been working with Atlas, especially with the 30th anniversary with SMT this year. There've been a lot of like licensing stuff that's coming up and in the pipeline. It is so funny to me, all of the different levels of red tape that I never knew existed, of what they will let you do, what they won't let you do, which I'm sure you've become now definitely accustomed to. Like, did they give you the no on Mara? Because like it's never universal. Mara, you can put Mara on some stuff, and then you can't put Mara on other stuff. It's really weird.
Okay, so they have refused certain demons. I can tell you that much.
Mm-hmm.
We have not spoken about Mara as it stands today.
Were there any weird ones? Because I know you can't say, but I'll put this one out there, and you could either reply or not. This one I learned, I was surprised and then also not surprised. They are weirdly trepidatious about making merch with the Indian demons from Indian mythology. I was surprised about that one.
Sorry, what was the name?
Well, there wasn't one specific, but like any demons that come from Indian mythology, they're very weird about it. They're like, we don't want to license that out. In the game is fine, but they were like, we don't want to. We're not sure about that.
I don't think we've been in a situation where that would apply just yet.
Yeah, the only one where it's kind of come up outside of like Sheva, because like Sheva's a big one, is in SMT5. I always forget what the name of this is, but there's like a demon council of like all these different demons from all these different nationalities. There's like Odin, Khonsu, Abdiel, all these kind of demons, and then one of them is like representing like Indian mythology and stuff like that with it. And there's like a couple of different times of like, Khonsu normally doesn't show up, and it's like in representation of Shiva, it's like Visky or something. It's like this giant like snake demon as well. But yeah, it's been interesting learning the kind of ins and outs that like they have of like, it's not like they don't want to do it. It's like them thinking, okay, which will people not be mad at us like merchandising from, which is definitely understandable.
Yeah, no, I get that. We haven't had like a list of demons that we can't do anything with, but having said that, everything we do is subject to approval anyway. So even if we wanted to do that, first thing we would have to do is like submit basically a product proposal sheet where we basically say, hey, this is what this product's going to be. Feedback, please. So I imagine it would be at that point they would turn around and say, actually, we've got a problem, or they just wave it through. I guess at that point, I mean, yeah, that hasn't happened. The only time that we had flat out refusal was when I was questioning where things stood regarding the DLC for Shin Megami Tensei 5. So obviously,
the DLC demons?
Yeah, because I was curious. I was like, well, technically that's Shin Megami Tensei 5. That's what we have a license for, right?
Okay, I mean, were you asking, let me guess, was it Cleopatra or was it Artemis? Because I can't imagine it was Mephisto.
Oh man, you know what? There's a few, because I mean, they're all from Nocturne. So
I'm sorry, you're right. I forgot all about that quest line. Yeah, all of the different Hell Riders and stuff like that from the Nocturne DLC.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then obviously culminating with Demi-Fiend. You know, and I'm like, well, technically,
what a sneaky way to get around the license. Yeah, because technically Demi-Fiend is a demon in SMT5.
I mean, that's what we signed a deal for.
That's
No,
so
they did
funny.
not
I didn't
see
even
that.
think about that. That's so funny.
They did not see it that way. They were like, eh,
Tattoo Boy with
no.
shorts. You gotta go. You gotta go the HD remaster. Right. You gotta license that out now. You can't do that.
Oh, for sure. That was their answer. Like, I'm like, all right then. Well,
It was
we'll
worth.
see.
You know what? Seriously though, kudos to you for trying. I didn't even think about that as like being an option because yeah, that is it's in the game for sure. Like that is part of the game.
It's part of the game. Can't argue it. Like that's he's there.
They're like you need to pay
Whether
you need to
whether
pay
you
the
can beat
licensing
him-
DLC to get that DLC though.
Yes. Yeah. That's it.
now
Whether you can beat him's a different story, but
now's the point. I gotta start being the mean host here. I've got to ask.
Oh,
We've been tiptoeing around some of it. What can you tell me is coming? We've just been
What
being
can I tell
mean
you?
and telling everybody what's not coming. Let's tell you all these spins that are definitely not being able to buy.
I'm gonna say that's more on you as the host.
No, for sure. I like to be mean. Let's talk about Tokyo Xanadu and Mara pins all day, and that's the show.
Yeah, there we go. We're done. Fantastic. Great talking to you. See you next week. Okay, so I can tell you, we have 12 pins completed. They are done, finished,
Approved. Too late to back out.
Yes, far past that. We have 12 that are done, finished, approved. Everyone's happy with. Our first launch will have 7. So it'll be 5 standard pins and 2 XL pins.
Are we still able to say the date? Is the date that you'd thrown me out before still
Yes,
planned?
I can. Yep. So subject to nothing changing, I don't see why it would at this point because everything's been approved. So unless there's like some world events or you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
These should go up on the 1st of February.
Gotcha. Well, all the first 7, right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep. And then the idea is that the wave after that won't be too far behind. We'll probably space it out a month or 2.
Okay,
Just
that's
give
nice. That's
people
nice, and
time to-
at least it's not one of those awful ones of like, well, you got to sell out. You have to sell all the 7 first, and then you get the rest of them. At least it's not like
No,
that.
we're not that bad. So yeah, we'll let your wallet recover. That's fine. So yeah.
Let's see.
And there's definitely classics. There's definitely classic demons that you're gonna find in that lot. And we're kind of hoping when this obviously goes up and hopefully everyone shares it, we start getting feedback as to what demons you want to see beyond this first set. That's really.
And
gonna
now at
steer
least
us-
everyone will know not to request Hellbiker.
Well, no, it's not even that. To be fair, I mean, if there was a load of requests for Hellbiker, then it would be like, okay, then it might be the case of turning around to Atlas and being like, hey, all right, what's it going to cost to just get the library? Like,
Oh well, I've already seen into the future. I'm fully expecting this to be an absolute banging success, and then you'll then come out, and I'll pretend to be surprised in 6 months when you say, Spencer, we're now releasing Nocturne HD remaster pens. Please be excited. And I go, I here they are. They're already done. These are the pens you picked.
yeah, I mean, if there is demons that like are strictly associated with that game that you want to see, then like tell us, like let us know, because the thing is, it's not just letting us know. Like, I guarantee you, Atlas is watching.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're always
They're
watching. Someone's listening right now. Some lawyer. He's
Someone's
on there
right now. He's probably on his way over right now.
I think about that, especially with how much garbage I put out, that someone at Atlas hears this every week. And it's never great. So it's like you've got to just assume, is it like, thank God they're getting paid to listen to this, or, oh my God, what a punishment, I have to listen to this garbage every week.
How long do these normally go on for?
Again, remember, it's 90 minutes to 5 hours, so who knows? It's
5 hours. Oh boy, that's like a full day for someone over there.
It's like, listen, that's why they get those sickos who listen to like podcasts at like 3 times speed. So it just sounds like I'm Alvin and the Chipmunks over here.
Oh no, I can't do it. It's standard speed for me. Can't do it.
So then, because you broke down by size of like normal size to XL1. So are all of these demons, or can I expect any characters? I know with SMT5, there's probably some characters I'm thinking that are also demons, so it's a little weird.
Demons.
Sorry,
yeah, that's kind of my hesitation there, to be honest.
All right,
it's not super cut and dry, I guess.
I'm gonna ask 3 questions, which you're allowed to say yes, no, or nothing to. But I'm gonna limit myself to 3 prediction question wise. Right. I'm assuming, because I've heard this through a couple things, but it has been a little wibbly wobbly. No spoiler demons, right? So no late game story final boss pens.
No.
Okay.
Not right now.
I'll just do the easy one. Did Nahabino make the cutoff? Do we count Nahabino as a pen?
Yes.
Okay. Is that a big boy pen, a tiny pen? Did you think of doing both? Get the little chibi Pino?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, okay. And then, I'm trying to think of this one.
Last one, make it count.
I know. There's a lot of things I want to make sure. Oh, they're all spoilery questions. Are all the tough ones that I'm thinking. Okay, then the final question: are there any pins that are multiple characters, or characters that are usually paired up, like a certain demon tentacle monster, and/or characters like that are demons usually paired up together, or is it mostly just one person per pin?
No.
Okay. I have a good idea. Although, again, not a prediction one, but I'm going to ask. Assuming, how many pins should I expect that will have high school children wearing uniforms? I'm going to assume 0.
0 would be correct.
Okay, perfect. The only one I would have wanted, honestly, just as like for like shits and giggles, would be a very spoiler-filled blonde boy. There'd be a funny pen you could probably do with one blonde-haired Dazai, but again, that would go into spoilers, which would make it a little bit harder.
Sure.
So then for you, I've got to ask, was there anyone you really had to fight for, or were extra proud of getting into this first batch of 7?
I don't think so. I think they were pretty okay with like our first like suggested lineup was pretty much just wave through. They were happy with it. Because I think the idea, I mean, when we were putting the list together, the idea was to try and keep it like quite rounded.
I assume they legally forced you to include Jack Frost, as is tradition.
I mean, people love Jack Frost, though, right?
I know, but also, I've never seen people make SMT merch that didn't have Jack Frost. So I got to assume it's literally got to just be mandated at this point.
It's in the contract. Yeah. You don't have.
It's a stamp of just. It's the little Jack Bro stamp right next to it. You have to get it.
Yep. You don't have a choice. Like it has to be. You have to promise that it's going to be there at some point. But no, I mean, no. People love the Jack Frost. They, I mean, didn't it sell out in like 2 hours on Shop Atlas?
Oh, which one? When they did a Jack Frost pen.
They did, yeah, they did.
They stole your idea. I'm sorry, by the way. Yeah, they took.
I know, right? I had no idea that was even a thing, and then just like bam, they were like, "Oh yeah, we sell pins on our Shop Atlas store now."
We have gold variants. You're not going to steal our gold variants, are you?
I'm like, excuse me? Like, I thought that was my thing.
Well, yeah, and then they were like, "Well, ours. We took ours out of the box, though, so that's why they get away with it."
Yeah, they forgot the box. don't know what it comes. Did you get any of those pins through?
No, I'm broke. I'm literally recording the show on my floor in my office right now. So no, I can't afford. I can't afford pins.
Hey, at least you've got a floor, right?
That's the bar. The bar bare minimum is just floor. Do you have a floor to sit on? You're doing pretty good. I don't have a job, but I mean, I'm at least on a carpeted floor, so at least it's not cold.
Ooh,
so there's that.
Hey, that's fancy. That is fancy.
Yeah, look, because I'm looking at their little. They have their little pen bundle right here.
They did, didn't they?
They come. They do the. I'm trying to think of a non-insulting way to phrase this. They do the common thing of cardboard cut pen through. So like they have a cardboard little thing. It comes on like a little like 2x2 square piece of cardboard, and they put the pen through the cardboard with like a logo and a little bit of art on it, but like not much. It's very minimum.
Have they added pictures of the of that cardboard?
Not. I've seen them, but I know they're not on their website. The only one you can actually see on the website with cardboard is from their 13 Sentinels pin, where it's just a little bit of flavor text and the logo. So SMT5 and all their Persona pins were pretty much the same way. It was bare minimum.
Yeah, I mean our pin designs are very different to shop atlases.
Well, and then also they're just selling decapitated heads. Your pins will have a body. I mean, no offense. If I'm looking at Aogami's head, how am I supposed to know that's Aogami and not actually the Prime Minister? Like, these are interchangeable anime faces. Jack Frost, I understand decapitating. Like, you're not missing much with Jack Frost's body, but like Nahabino without like the tight body. Or like looking at Dibby Fiend with just the decapitated head. Dibby Fiend is just a boy. We don't even know if he's got the tattoos yet at that point. Like he could just be just a random kid. We don't know. That's where the body comes in.
Or just the head.
That's true. Decapitated head over there. Although ironically, their only one they haven't done is that little gold Jack Frost that they sold out of really quick. Although you can technically still get it, but you have to buy a $40 plush to get the gold Jack Frost pen. So they're not completely...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, so like so then the other interesting one is, are you taking art from Atlas directly? Did you guys try and work with any artists to get like new or different artwork for your pen boxes, or like where are we sourcing most of these from for the SMT5 line?
Okay, so for the pins themselves, that was the designs for the pins were done internally.
Oh, nice.
With a lot of like back and forth with Atlas.
So we don't have to don't have to send any to Japan for Doi. Doi does not get any of these. He doesn't get a cut.
No.
Okay, good. We can't let his head get too big, so we need to cut him off when he can.
It's all new artwork.
Awesome. I'm even more excited now.
So yeah, all new artwork. Now Bino looks awesome. I'll leave it at that.
Oh yeah, have you had any like test prints come? Like, have you had any of these come into your guys' office yet? Where you've seen them like what they're looking like?
I have all 12 here.
I bet he's rubbing them right now, just gloating in our face.
Oh yeah, I got all of them.
Can you just like rub one against the microphone so we can just hear what it sounds like as a little exclusive tease? Can you just? This is the rare 9th pin. This is what the 9th pin sounds like on the microphone.
I mean, this is what happens when it's an audio only podcast, I guess.
Well, that's why you agreed. You're like, I can't do video. That's too early. We can't show off all 12 pins. And well, good news. I don't have a face for radio, so there we go. That's why we're doing audio only. You know what? I was thinking about. I was going to save this joke to the end, but this is such a perfect time. I thought about this as soon as we started the show. What if someone has been going through this whole episode and thought we were talking about PENs? Pen box, the writing pens. And they just clicked on this. They didn't look at the thumbnail. They didn't look at the show notes. They just went, "Oh my god, they're making all these Atlas pens! I can't wait to buy these. I can't wait." There's like because think about it, a pen comes in a collector's box. It's pretty nice. You can put things. You can print metal on a pen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So someone out there is going to make it to like the 90-minute mark and go, hold on. These things I'm not going to be writing my goodwill and testament on.
Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
Well, that's the spin-off company. That's when you get tired of sticking pins, you can start drawing pins.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people will probably go on the website and they'll kind of be like, huh, okay, pins, sweet. Like, but you guys also do like t-shirts and hoodies and wall scrolls, and like we even do like eater bags now. There is a simple reason for that. This was negotiated before we started doing all of those things. So yeah, I mean, if you find yourself going around the site and kind of going like, huh, I really like the look of some of this stuff. Like, it'd be cool if like there was some SMT stuff. Like, tell us, because we can take that information to Atlas, and Atlas are always watching.
Now, I may have had an aneurysm, but I'm going to type this in because I think I tweeted about this.
Oh,
I think, or I thought, you all had teased something not pen related for SMT5.
that. Okay.
Yeah, so back in August,
yeah,
you guys had tweeted the Book of Demons, but it was a different book than the one that had come in the collector's edition. So
is it?
Yes, it was it could have been maybe I was looking at pictures of the Japanese one, and you guys had the European one done by because Europe was done by Nintendo, Atlas Japan did Japan, and then Sega West did North America. So yeah, what was that? What was that cryptic tweet about?
Honestly, I hate to throw cold water on you. I hate to be the one that just throws icy water. But that book's just what we got in the collector's edition.
That's so funny. I thought you guys were teasing you were gonna make a journal and use it as the.
That tweet was more just kind of a subtle hey, we're still working on it type of thing, because it'd been a while since we'd posted it.
Oh man, that is so funny.
I had that book just on my desk next to me, and I thought to myself, I was like, oh my god, can you imagine if someone came in here and had no idea what we did, and they just see the Forbidden Book of Demons sat on my desk? What would they think?
Clearly, you have good taste. Yeah,
thought.
Clearly you have very good taste in collector's editions would be the thing with it. That's so funny.
So it was just just another day in the office, Forbidden Book of Demons on the desk, just just casual, it's fine. But no, it makes me wonder now. Did you get a different cover?
The cover was the same, but the printing materials to make the cover made the colors look a little bit duller in the Western one compared to the one you guys had.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So I made a tweet about it, and I put the two comparisons next to each other. That's why I thought they were two different products.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, whereas the one you guys had tweeted about was a lot darker looking, and ours almost looks almost like a brighter leathery brown.
Did you get the bag?
Yes, we had all the same contents. Ironically, the only thing we got that you guys didn't get was our steelbook had a slipcover, whereas your steelbook was just you got the steelbook and a plastic case for the game. We just got the steelbook with a slipcover.
Okay, the Japanese version looks completely different.
Yeah, the Japanese one is
what?
vastly different.
Okay. All right. Well,
I at least appreciate that I apparently was just having a fever dream and an aneurysm at the same time. So I thank you for walking me off the ledge. But hey, at least my wallet will appreciate it. I was ready for you guys to be like, we've got a full merch lineup. We've got a body pillow. We've got shirts. We've got jean jacket. We've got shorts.
Pixie body pillow, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Life-size pixie body pillow might actually just be the world's saddest throw pillow.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, Atlas will be looking at how this performs ultimately. If we sell 3 pins, then I'm sure that'll be the end of that, and Atlas will kind of be like, yes, well, thanks for playing, but bye.
Now, here's a bit of a weird inside baseball. Have you had any, how much communication with Atlas Japan have you guys had in terms of having them sell your pins and putting them up on pre-order for the Atlas D shop?
there has been some communication about that, but as it stands today, it's not something that's happening.
Okay.
That could change, but as things are right now, like genuinely, like there is nothing like actually planned to happen there.
Well, I mean, thankfully,
Yeah.
the only
not to say
real
it
benefit
won't
you
happen.
get from it is just, oh, it's cool. Atlas is selling our product because, like, ironically, it's just a more expensive way to buy it. Like, that's basically all it would be.
Yeah, I mean, it would work one of two ways. Either it's going to be more expensive over there, or we'd have to sell it to Atlas cheaper.
Oh no! So I mean, either way,
Yes.
like the way it works is like most of the time the Atlas D shop will usually be above MSRP because like when I had Kyle on from Bandai because they recently just started putting out the pre-orders for the SMT trading card set they're doing at Bandai. Those are on sale on the Atlas D shop, and we were joking about like how it's still available on both sites, but more people have bought the more expensive version just because it's on the Atlas shop. it was just like one of those funny things of like people are looking on that shop and are like, well, I want Atlas to ship it to me in their cardboard box, not the Bandai cardboard box.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing really I could say at that point is obviously we're based in the UK. So if you are in America, then in theory, you could potentially have cheaper shipping.
Oh yeah, I guess that probably would be good. Yeah, look, for you guys, is there any places you guys don't ship to?
No, we ship worldwide.
Perfect. All right, because that was one of the bummers with the with the SMT cards because it was only available. I think it might still be only available in North America and Japan. So then everyone in Europe was like, "Where's our cards?" But they're working on that now. There is a way to get them. But yeah, so at least this one is nice. You can just go to Penbox. Is it .com or .store? Or I think it should be both. Okay. All the stuff will be in the show notes for people to check out things either way. But yeah, the nice thing at least then is so you guys ship everywhere. Has there been any weird ones of like, oh look, it's our first order to Sri Lanka?
Oh man, it's always been something I've had in the back of my head that I should have like a little map up and just put a pin in like countries as like we send something there, because I think at this point we'd pretty much fill it. There's not many places we haven't shipped to, which is really cool.
We need. I bet this exists out there. I need to like send you a gift of like it's a map of the world on corkboard, and then you could just poke a hole in each little country.
Yeah, it's been something I've had in my mind. Just it's one of those. It's just time.
Now this is a weird one. Is there a market, or am I just being like an insane person and thinking that this is a market because I would buy this? Have you thought of making a pen box display thing for your pens? Like, it would basically be like, here is fancy corkboard in a pen box, which then you can actually use to display the pens you have bought from us, representing in this series. So, being very unoriginal, with something like Ease, you would just take the giant Y logo and just put it on there like that. Or with SMT, you could do something like, here's the pentagram in like a background circle with like a pentagram etched in there, and you could kind of place it around the pentagram circle, like stuff like that.
No, it's not something I've really thought about, because I don't know. I mean, I think the way that I've always thought about it is, I mean, the box is just where the pin gets displayed, but I mean, I know there's people obviously that take the pins out of the boxes.
I just honestly, when this episode comes up, I just want people to just tweet photos of me, like tweet photos to me of like how people display them, like, because I'm sure you've seen a bunch. Like, are people lining them up on like their shelves? Are they hanging them up on a wall? Like, I'm sure there are like so many different ways people like have been like displaying these things over the years.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've seen people have them in like glass cabinets, mantelpieces. I've seen people put shelving up around the like edges of the roof, like of the inside the house, like so, like all like lined up across like the top, going around the room at the top. It's just like 10 boxes going around. Yeah, it's crazy. And then other people, they'll make their own boards, like custom frame it, and then like they'll like get a massive cork board, and then like print artwork on it, and then start like stabbing them in that. It's wild. There are some insanely talented people for coming up with some of the solutions they do.
By the way, what do we call this one? The Trails of Cold Steel 2 box, where it's two normal-sized ones in a longer, like, rectangle box with the extended art. What do we call those? Because I gotta say, that's, like, one of my favorite designs you guys have done.
So the two pins are actually larger than the standard size ones.
Oh, okay.
It's not by much. I believe, off the top of my head, they're 2 inches at the longest each, whereas the standard ones are 1.75. But yeah, we kind of came to the decision of, okay, well, if the box is that form factor, that's an XL box. Like, it doesn't matter what goes in, that's an XL box. Just otherwise, it's just going to get really confusing. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to try and just keep things uniform in nature. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, that was something we did because obviously the design really lends well to it. Of just those two characters, and you know they're fan favorites anyway, so it kind of made sense to do it like that.
This is dangerous. So, I'm looking on Twitter, and I've found a couple of people who have like shared their collection pictures. Seeing them in person, even in a picture, lined up next to each other, it is weirdly very aesthetically pleasing. And then you have the couple of ones where like the boxes have like interlinked arts. I'm like, oh no, this is dangerous.
Oh yeah.
They look. Also, I will say the XLs are way bigger than I actually would have thought they were. Like when you see them compared to like all three sizes next to each other, it is drastically different. That is very funny.
The XLs are like, yeah, they're really big by comparison.
They live up to their name.
I hope so.
Oh my lord! Wow, yeah. I'm glad people have been tweeting these because I was like, I gotta like see. I'm sure there are people out there because, I'm Mr. Bandwagon over here. I've yet to I've yet to take the plunge. Hence why you can tell by this very official. Oh my god! I'm sorry. I have to stop myself. Jonathan at Inhasa Poyozo looks to. It's what's got to be. This has to be everything, right? He's up to 46 pens with you guys, and this looks it's like a wall. This is amazing. The way I noticed it right away too is because he had all the rubber ducks, which I was very happy to see. When I saw you could get the rubber ducks, I was like, now this is a company I can get behind.
Yeah, that's. I'm trying to think if he's missing anything here.
There's a ton.
I think he has everything. I think the only thing he doesn't have is the Reen and Crow one that you were talking about before.
And this is from a couple of weeks ago, so it could be still in the way or whatever.
Oh, it might be. Yeah, it might be in the mail. Yeah.
Wow, that is really really cool. But yeah, so like I said, I'm as unbiased as I can be just because, hey, like I said, I'm a big collector of stuff, but I've yet to pull the trigger. I'm definitely going to, for sure, with the SMT5 ones, but then what's funny is, like, now, because like I said, as a fan of like all these different Falcom games, my only thing that has stopped me from buying one from you guys before is because I know as soon as I get one, I will want to have more. So it's been like, all right, what do I make? Is like, what's the one like I won't not be able to get?
I'll send you the first set. I'll get you started.
No, you'll give me the drug dealer special. The first one's free. Oh no, look at this one. I gotta get that, and then you gotta get into the variants. But like, well, now I gotta get the first rendition and the old Sly Cooper pin that were only 100 of those. But I gotta go find that one.
I mean, good luck to you.
That would be a lot of internet sleuthing, I feel, to track those ones down. But like, no, that is really really funny with it. I'm surprised. I'm surprised I actually haven't asked this yet. Have you contacted, or has any company tried contacting you to include these with game special editions, or like have anything like that? Because I'm at the point now where I'm like, why is there not just like a Ease 8 pen in like the PS5 re-release collector's edition from you guys? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we've actually had requested a few times, because I think a lot of the time, especially recently, collector's editions are kind of lacking for the most part.
It's always hard to strike that balance of, is it loaded with goodies, but it's also the right price? Because I feel like with most people, it's either not enough for the price, or too cheap and there's not enough stuff, or like hitting that right balance is always like so hard with people in collectors, because like there are so many reasons people get them, of like, are you wanting the soundtrack, or do you want the art book? Do you want a statue, or do you want a steel book? Like it's almost impossible to make everyone happy.
Yeah, no, I agreed. It really is. So it's something that like I wouldn't be against doing. But no, we've never been approached by anyone. And I've never really approached anyone else, because the simple, I mean, if you think about it, like they've got to get collector's editions done or in manufacture so far before that game is even close to coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So generally, like if a game's announced, like more times than not, like they've probably already got like full plans for that collector's edition, and have already like spoken to manufacturers and have probably got samples for stuff.
Do we have any dream collector's editions pens? If you could throw yourself in there to anything, legal be damned, timelines be damned, what franchise would you want to put the first ever pen box CE exclusive pen?
Oh man, oh man, that's a tough one. I think, are we going like full legality be damned?
Anything, yeah, anything past, present,
goes.
future,
Okay.
nothing could stop you.
Okay, a lot of people are probably just going to switch it off after this. So, like, thanks for listening. That's great. I won't be here next week, so it's fine. You can come back. I think for me, it would either be Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts.
Oh,
like,
no, what do you mean? No, you're pandering at this point. Those are literally like some of my... Yes, those are like literally some of my favorite series of all time. Yeah, if anything, you're pandering to be on here now.
No.
Perfect.
No, honestly, though, like, they are my, favorite series of all time. And I think at this point, Kingdom Hearts peaks it for me.
I was ashamed at how long it took Disney to make official Kingdom Hearts Disney pens. Like, that seemed like such a marketing move. I cannot believe it took them over 10 years to finally do them, and they're very reserved. Like I feel like again they could go way harder, but I mean then they'd have to go into like the anime side of things, which I mean, hey, whatever. But no, like so then for you, let's say we're being realistic here. You guys are like Mr. Square Enix comes up to you. Well, it would technically be Mr. Disney. Mr. Disney comes up.
Yeah, this is it.
He comes up to you and he says, "We want to make, in the collector's edition of Kingdom Hearts 4, a collab with you guys.
Oh boy.
You can pick anyone you want. So it can mean Disney, Square Enix, Star Wars, Marvel. You get carte blanche, but it can only be one character in any size format you want. It has to be a pen box. What do you pick then?"
Oh man. I mean, see, half the problem here is clearly Kingdom Hearts 4 is going in a very strange direction.
Exactly. Listen, Star Wars is going to be in it. What the hell's going to that look like?
Well, this is the thing. It's going realistic from what we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so at that point, it's kind of like, okay, things. I don't even know. It sounds really dumb and simple
and clean,
but like Okay, that one got me. That one got me. That one got me. But honestly, like, I'd probably veer more to doing a Heartless.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I mean, honestly,
You know, and if they were like, "Oh, just do like a little thing, like little Heartless pins," like, hell yeah, I think they'd work really well.
for sure.
You
That's
know,
much better than my suggestion. Mine would have been, if we're going realistic, I wanna include a collector's item that's. It's so weird because you ever see those ones where they include items in the collector's edition almost as an excuse because you know they could never get away with selling it outside of that set. That's what I was like. So mine would be this. Mine would be, we're gonna make a pin that's Kingdom Hearts 4's major character reveal. It's Sora's dad. Hyper-realistic Sora's dad's face. Everyone's been like, where is Sora's dad? We know where his mom is. She's been making dinner the last 25 years. Where is Sora's hyper-realistic dad? And we're going to see him in the pin box.
I mean, I don't know where his mom is. I'd love to know that information.
The back of the box won't even have art. It'll just have a written apology from Nomura explaining where Sora's parents have been these last years.
I mean, it's going to be a pretty lengthy... It's going to have to be a very large box.
Something tells me, like, when Mr. Disney came up to you, it would be like, you know what, this is the choice I wanted in our collector's edition. No, but seriously, you could not have picked a more pandery question. Kingdom Hearts, it scratches that itch of every little bit of me. Of perfect time for nostalgia. I am a huge Disney loser fan, and I love everything Square Enix. So no, yeah, there's no way you could have picked a more pandering answer. You're not kicked off.
Awesome. That's good to know. Because like I literally have like the symbols from like Kingdom Hearts like tattooed on me.
Oh, nice.
Like, yep. And then I have like the 3 like pixel mages from Final Fantasy on the same arm. So like they are by far my favorite franchise.
See, now that you've said this, now when you finally do get in contact with someone at Square Enix, they're only going to give you the IP for Dragon Quest. They're like, I'm sorry, we can only get you Dragon Quest. Is that okay? Like, oh, fine, I'll make a slime.
I mean, I'll take Nier.
Yeah, there you go.
Nier's awesome.
You got to get Yokotaro to sign off on it, though, because it has to be canon. The pins have to be canon, too.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know, I've thought of so many fun things that you could do.
I think Nier merchandise
so
needs to come together as a collective, and we need to just stop using only Emil's head. Like, there's so much more things you could do for merchandise that's not just Emil's poor little moon head.
And then you just have the riddles included.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to be like, oh yeah, just have Yokotaro just like go. It's all coming together now. You'd be like, what? What is coming together? And just like a picture of like 3 pins.
Yokotaro is honestly the real life humanization of that one clip from The Simpsons with Leonard Nimoy of saying, "My work here's done. Everything's coming together as planned." I'd be like, "What did you do?" Like, all coming together.
I mean, that church. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh,
the church.
I can't believe that was less than a year ago. The whole church thing. The fact that we all believed it. We're like, you know what? This would be something that Yokotaro would do. He would put this church in here.
He would. It was one of those where it was like, you know what? Like, I want this to be real, but if it's not, I'm not even mad.
Mm-hmm.
Like kudos. Like, I'm not even mad about this.
Yeah,
like,
the whole story behind it was honestly almost just as entertaining of if it ended up being real or not. That was the best part.
And mad props to Yokotaro for just like going.
Oh yeah, it would have been really easy to just be like, no, we didn't do this. Like, that's not us.
Yeah,
like,
it'd have been so easy.
Mm-hmm.
It'd have been so easy. Like, and to be fair to him, he was just like, interesting. It's like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah, Yokotaro is definitely built different. God bless him.
Oh yeah. But no, you could have fun. You could have fun with Nier Match.
My last SMT question for you then. Where are you at in your head of like how do you guys at least expect right now from teasing it to it going on sale? Like, where are you guys thinking it's at in terms of past lineups you guys have done? Are you thinking it's going to be kind of like around the same sort of like size and scope with it? Are you expecting like, hey, this is going to be like pretty big for us? Like, where are you guys at in your headspace of it's not out yet, and we haven't really done the official reveal yet? Like, because that's always like so hard to like gauge like those metrics before anything happens, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially when Pinbox was starting, you'd have licenses turn around and they'd say like, "Oh, well, how many are you gonna sell?" And it's like, I don't know. like,
how many do you want to buy right now? I'll be a better answer.
Yeah, I mean, and they're like, "Oh, well, we need to know," and it's like, well, yeah, I'd love to know that information too, like, but the reality is you just don't know, it's kind of weird. I think with Shin Megami Tensei, there is just so little merchandise for it.
Mm-hmm.
To my knowledge, anyway. Like, correct me if I've like missed a gold mine, but like there's so little for Shin Megami Tensei. It feels like if there's a market for it, that should emerge. In theory.
Is there any merch you want to help will into existence for SMT? Whether it be a character or a certain... My big one's an easy one. I keep saying it's easy, but no one's done it.
All right, go.
Realistically, someone should just sell us that student jacket. That they like their little blazer. Like, that seems so easy to design and make happen, but they haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
And the joke one, which I only say is a joke because I just want to make it happen, is someone needs to just sell Dazai's yellow hat. Why has that not been made? Like, no, hats aren't expensive. Hats are not that expensive to produce. I know that. I could make his hat.
Yeah.
But no one
Maybe
wants
you
to do
should.
it. No one wants to do it.
Maybe you should.
Also, always have to give a shout out to this because I know, but I can't say that I know. But I know this isn't a thing. Memon need to be on more merchandise. In general, they're the most merchandisable thing from that entire game, and there's not a single plush of them anywhere.
No, I'm afraid not.
But yes, that's my merch soapbox. But for you, like, is there anything like what's the gap that you see in the market? You're like, what can I say that we're not doing?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, like, because it was only this time last month that we like revealed that we were even doing like wall scrolls and bags and and I mean it was only like a couple of months before that hoodies dropped and so like there's just so much going on here. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, I honestly I don't even know. Like, my mind is that just like.
Listen, I didn't say this earlier, but kudos, by the way. Eat a bags is such a smart thing to throw in there that I feel like most other companies wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, I mean, it's different for sure. And it was kind of one of those where it was like a project that like I wanted to do more than it being like like because I knew it wasn't going to sell gangbusters. It's so niche. But it was something that I just wanted to see. And sometimes you gotta kind of just do that just for sanity's sake.
I mean, I was just happy you guys not only made a eat a bag, but then also you at least did a good way of incentivizing people. The smiling cat pin, I hope becomes like one of your rarest pins you've ever made. That would be very funny to me if like the smiling cat pin just ends up being like one of the rarest.
Smiling cat pin's awesome, like, because it's like it's literally bringing something
from the game world
game to life. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I appreciate you also including the art of where it's from, because I feel like if you didn't show that this is from the game, it would look like you just took 5 seconds in Microsoft Paint to make that pin.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, there's just nothing else I can say to that, to be honest. But it's a very simple design, but it makes sense given where it's from.
By the way, I'm surprised. I don't know why I hadn't noticed this sooner. Is there a specific reason, or is it just personal preference on your guys' end, why you use the Japanese logos for your boxes?
That is a good question. The Japanese logos is simply because that's what we have the rights to.
I was ready for you to say it just looked cooler. That was the
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but no, I mean, the actual reason is that's what we have the rights to. So, we don't have the rights to Trails from Zero.
Mm-hmm. So
We have the rights to Zero no Kiseki.
two very different games with two very different brown-haired protagonists.
Yeah, pretty much.
So with SMT5, then I'm assuming you guys probably have carte blanche. Which one do you go with? Do you stick with the Japanese to look cooler, or do you use the Western logo?
It's the Western.
Okay,
it's the Western. That's probably one other. Oh man, this is gonna suck. If you're in Japan listening to this, I apologize. We can't ship to Japan.
Oh, for the SMT pins.
Yeah, we're not allowed.
That goes back to the thing we brought up with shipping. That's where you get the Atlas D shop. That's where you start bringing that up again. That's when the D shop upcharge gets involved.
Yeah, we're not allowed. And I've noticed we're not the only ones. Like, I think you go on like Fangamer, like their merch over.
They literally had to license all their Fangamer stuff through Fangamer Japan. They had to license it twice, once for Western distribution and once for Japan. Is really crazy.
Whoa.
I will say though, as is tradition, much like with the other cards, if you are in Japan and you're sitting over here, we will do group orders. So that way I can just make a comically large order. I'll order a pallet of 600 pens from you guys, and then you'll have to ship them to the middle of Kansas, and then I'll ship them to Japan. That's just what we're going to have to do together as a society to get through this problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. It sucks.
Well, I feel like I understand you feeling bad about it, but it's like, I think at least most people are going to know it's not because you guys don't want to. It's just it's a licensing in areas, and like it's very common nowadays for stuff to be region locked when it is from a Japanese IP but being sold and produced in the West.
Yeah, pretty much. There's one other thing that we're working on in the pipeline that falls into the same kind of issue where we can't ship it. Except in that case, we can't ship it to Asia.
Oh, I was just about to ask if where's the Asia boundary cut off? Okay, so what's that one?
It's to do with our partnership with Way Forward.
Spider Source pens finally coming. You thought I was going to say Shantae. That would be the easy one. No, I go with their lower IP. Catgirl with salad. Catgirl without salad pins. I can't wait.
What people don't realize is Way Forward doesn't own the rights to Shantae.
Well, no, it's real. So I also know this. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I do know the Way Forward stuff is weird. You're basically would have to go through Arc System Works to get all the Asia stuff taken care of. No, with that one, how come?
Oh, for Asia stuff, yeah. For Asia stuff, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So with Asia, you'd have to go through Arc System Works. It'd be a huge mess.
Yeah. I'd have to double license it with Arc System Works, and it's just not worth it, honestly. I know I'm.
Have you guys already announced you were doing Shantae stuff? I know people had asked you for it.
There is no announcement for Shantae stuff. The only announcement is that we're working with Way Forward. We put out Dawn of the Monsters, that was published by Way Forward.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Shantae stuff, like Way Forward doesn't own the rights to Shantae. You can't license Shantae from Way Forward.
It is a funny one,
which I know is blowing people's minds right now.
No, so for me, I'm trying to remember what I can say because I
Oh, I can tell you. It's owned by the creator, Shantae.
Matt and I forget his wife's name. Bozon. Yeah, sorry. Matt's his brother who works at Apple. Mark Bozon and his wife are the ones who own the rights to it.
Yeah, so they own the rights to it. So ultimately, they make the final call on anything that happens regarding the Shantae license. So
what a thankfully lucrative deal they made all those years ago, huh?
I know, right? How that has paid off dividends. Like, fair play for playing the long game, though. Like, kudos.
Have one of the
But
worst
yeah,
selling Game Boy Color games of all time, but it finally paid off 20 years later.
finally paid off. Like, I mean, kudos though. Like, I respect that. But yeah, I mean, when we made the announcement that we were working way forward, yeah, just immediately everyone was like, Shantae,
Shantae.
oh boy, how do I break this to you guys?
So are you telling me there is a chance that you might be able to get me the Mummy Demastered merch? Is that happening?
No, because Way Forward doesn't own that either.
Thanks, Universal. What's other Universal things that you can't give me? Their Aliens game, that weird DS Aliens game. You can't give me that.
I'll do that. Yep, no. Off the table.
Let's see. Realistic though, Spider Swords might actually that might have been too accurate.
Plausible.
That might be real.
Plausible. Possible.
Definitely no River City Girls merch. That would also have to go through Arc System because that's Kunio-kun.
Unless they decided to just not ship to Asia.
Oh, true. Yeah. If we forget them, that would make sense. Then Kunio-kun can exist. Thank you.
Yes.
Trying to think, what are some other weird way forward ones? Because I do love all their stuff.
Can't go without Solid.
Catgirl's a good one. That'd be another good April Fool's one. The April Fool's game becoming April Fool's merch.
You've got
Mystic Bell is good, although I think 5 people played that game, so I don't know how many people remember Mystic Bell.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Oh, the Mighty Switch Force games. Yep. Those are fun ones. Yeah.
Mighty Flip Champs as well.
And then probably 9 other games, because I feel like Way Forward is somehow like always working on like 900 games at the same time. Oh, I know. Can we finally get you guys to get me some Silent Hill Book of Memories merch? Can that happen?
Oh, of course, we can do that.
Thank you. Konami they'll merch anything. They'll do whatever you want.
Will they?
They'll merchandise anything. They won't make a game out of anything, but they'll sell you. You want Silent Hill tech decks? They'll give you tech decks.
I thought they just did pinball machines.
No, not anymore. They're merchandise machines these days, or TCG. People always forget. When people make fun of Konami, they always forget about Yu-Gi-Oh. Think how much money they make just through Yu-Gi-Oh. It is insane.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what Konami would be without Yu-Gi-Oh. To be honest, like.
It's funny because honestly, they make enough money through Yu-Gi-Oh that they probably don't need to even do the game stuff. That's the funny part.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty much all classic Yu-Gi-Oh too.
Oh yeah, let me tell you about my XYZ monster collection. That'll keep everyone excited. So the last couple of things before I can try and get you out of here. I cannot believe we've already gone over 2 hours. But
good grief.
Last couple of quick ones. Are there plans on any like bundles with the first set of 7? Are you just planning on selling all the SMT stuff just kind of piecemeal? Any deal like that?
Okay, so you can buy everything individual. There's nothing locked behind behind a set or anything like that.
The gold Jack Frost pin exclusive to the 9-pack.
Yeah, afraid not today. The XLs are just being sold individually. The other 5 you can buy as a bundle, and you get, I believe it's 10% off.
Are there any interconnecting artworks either on the front or the back of the boxes?
No.
Okay. Trying to think. What are any other last-minute burning questions for people? Are these open pre-orders, or are these going to be limited to a certain amount?
Good question. Open pre-orders. So there will be a 2-week window, and we guarantee we'll fulfill anything in that window. After that, you're all in the dice.
Now, besides the next 2 to 3 weeks of free advertisement you guys will be getting for it, I'm trying to think with the lead time. So with you guys,
sure.
For pre-order to shipping, what are you guys thinking? Now, obviously, we've gone 2 hours, and I almost didn't ask you about the dreaded S word that's known as shipping. But
Shipping.
yeah. So
yeah.
what is the current? Because obviously everything changes a million ways. But like, when do you guys think realistically these pre-orders will be shipped?
Okay, so we are internally targeting for June.
Oh, that's so much better than I think. See, most people who listen to this show, we're in the broken mindset of buy a limited rare item and see it in 3 years. So like, listen, that's way better than I was thinking it was going to be. So 4 to 5 months, not even that bad.
Yeah. So I mean, so obviously open pre-orders go through to the middle of February. They'll close, and it's at that point that we put in the final orders for manufacture.
Mm-hmm.
So manufacturing starts like 15th of February, basically. The pins take roughly 6 to 8 weeks, permitting there's no disasters or anything like that. And the boxes are much quicker, but the problem with the boxes is we've got to get them shipped as well. So the boxes are typically done in about 3 weeks. And then they get thrown onto a ferry, and then that takes 6 weeks. So, yeah. We're aiming for June. If everything goes super smoothly, no hiccups, then we may squeak them out before. They may come out like mid-May, end of May.
Okay.
But we tend to give ourselves a little bit of extra. So if there is any hiccup for whatever reason, I mean, we've got a lot of strikes going on over here and stuff. So like,
let me tell you about the Royal Mail. I'm sure you've not heard about them recently.
Oh, yes. I love Royal Mail. Royal Mail is friend.
Are they listening? Are they still there?
They're watching. They're watching right now.
Them and the Atlas lawyers, they're sitting here on hour 2. They're like, Jesus.
They just sat right outside that door. I know it. Oh, man. Well, how much do you know about Royal Mail?
A lot. Unfortunately, yeah. That has been a complete clustercuss, to say the very least. If anyone is out there morbidly curious about the fun world of cyber incidents, please look up what's going on with the Royal Mail.
Yeah, yeah.
That's its own podcast.
Oh, it really is. I mean, to be honest, I could sit here and talk about shipping alone for 3 hours.
Shipping has somehow always been like my job, even when it isn't my job. It's been like such fun. Like I've just never been able to escape it. Of like working in FedEx for years, and then I go over to Xerox, but still shipping constantly. And then when my last job, constantly shipping and dealing with things like everything. Like I can't escape it, so it's just constantly a part of my life. So I understand that.
Yeah, it's just a mess. And then obviously the geniuses here in the UK voted to leave Europe, so that.
True.
It's great.
Well, hey.
If you are in Europe, though, do know if you order through the site, what you pay at checkout is the like final price you pay. You don't get like billed any extra like duties or fees at launch if you're in Europe.
Nice.
And your like country does like IOSS. I had to jump through a lot of hoops to make that happen.
That is that's a huge bunch of like logistical stuff that I feel like most people don't understand how overly complicated taking care of duties and fees is for shipping and businesses. It is so complicated.
Okay. You want to know how I managed to pull that off?
Sure.
I had to become an e-resident of Estonia.
A proud e-resident, no less.
An e-resident of Estonia, yeah.
I can't wait to find out about e-taxes.
Oh man, I have to do like an Estonian tax return every month.
That's every month too. Wow, I was thinking at least every year.
Month.
That's insane.
Every month. Yeah. But it means that like what you pay at checkout, that's it. You just get it delivered to your door. There's no extra fees. Like that's what it is.
Wow.
So if
that is wild.
For some reason you do get billed or anything, like contact us, we'll refund it. Like it's happened like twice since we like implemented it 18 months ago. So it's a really, really rare thing. But if it does happen, like, we're happy to like refund you because clearly something's gone wrong, usually on their end. But we'll just sort you out. It's fine.
Okay. Well, also everybody, it's not just SMT stuff. We have talked about all the different stuff you guys sell. So please don't feel like you could only look at the lovely penbox.store website only in February. Check out the other stuff. They've got literally over 100 different items out there to check out. So I'll try and throw up a smorgasbord of things that I think look cool and throw them in the show notes or on the little descriptor and whatnot before then. But before we get out of here, Robert, thank you so much for letting me steal you for so long to talk about the lovely world of shipping, logistics, and Japanese RPGs, everyone's favorite trilogy of things.
Of course.
But where would you like people to find you outside of Pinbox.store?
Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, I'm like most active on our like Discord server.
Mm-hmm. The Pinheads, they call you. The Pinhead server.
I mean, it's a Pinbox Discord server, but to be honest, like, everyone just talks about random stuff and just, yeah, and that's typically where I just kind of like hang a lot of the time. Like, I mean, I could give you my Twitter, but like, I never post anything, so it's one of those. But yeah, I mean, if you just search for like Pinbox Discord, like, you'll find me there. I'm always more than happy to speak with people. I love hearing ideas. And I'll often drop a lot of like sneak peeks and stuff there as well. So it's like a first place I'll put anything if I'm like looking for like feedback on something before like rolling it out to the masses. So it's
you just think,
yeah,
if I was in that
then
Discord just a few months earlier, we could have gotten those Roman numerals on the box.
you probably could have. Like, I'm not even like, honestly, like, the amount of like little changes that have happened. Like,
if you ever find any, please send me old beta designs for pens or box. I love seeing that stuff. I will never share it if I'm not allowed to, but I'm such a sucker for old variations and renditions from, like, how do we get from beginning to final product. I'm always so like weirdly like intrigued by those. Always so entertaining to me.
Yeah, I mean, I actually still have the like prototype boxes for like the concept of Pinbox that like I made literally with like just folding a piece of paper.
Oh, like by hand? Wow.
Yeah, by hand.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like I can send you some stuff after.
That's really cool. But yeah, thank you so much for talking. I'm sure, like I said, we'll be pimping up Wave 1 and Wave 2. By the way, how did you guys decide to split it up outside of, obviously, it's easier to not launch all 12 items all at once and stuff, but like, was there any, like...
too much for people.
Yeah, like, was there any rhyme or reason to, let's include this in the first one and then let's hold this off for the second one, or was it just kind of split it down the middle?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much split down the middle. I think everyone will see something in the first lot that they're happy with, and same with the second lot, you know. And I think
at least you didn't like keep it totally on brand, and you were like, Wave 1 is the law side, and then then Wave 2 is the chaos side. That's what it did. Only good guys and bad guys on these waves.
I mean, could have. But yeah, I it's more of a mix of, you know, recognizable and some new demons, and yeah. So it's just I tried to balance the sets, if that makes sense.
Well, before I let you get out of here, is there any last final tease you wanna tell anybody of what they may or may not be expecting to stab into their shirts in the next 6 months?
I think we've teased a lot already.
All right, I'll line you. I'll line you up with an easy one. Are there any pens with big chests that I can put on my big chests? Did you get any of those kind of demons?
What?
The well-endowed types. Are there any well-endowed typed demon ladies or men on there? Big pecs.
Well endowed. I'm gonna say no.
That's okay. We're conservative. You want to be conservative on your first one. You can't just give them all the easy ones right away. So that's good though.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it goes back to the Mara conversation, really.
It always comes back to Mara. I can tell you that's for sure.
It always comes back to Mara. It always comes back.
10 years of this, I'm still thinking of that guy.
I want to have a good relationship with Atlas. You gotta talk to them. You gotta be like, hey, we'll do this one. And then bam, you hit him with the Mara one.
They can't say no. When you're on Wave 6, and they're like, we've got to include him on Wave 6. He's the header of Wave 6.
Yeah, that's the thing. At that point, then they just wave stuff through because they're like, yeah, go on. Like, we don't have time for the.
Yeah, just send us the check. Come on, that's all right. Let's get this over.
Yeah, keep it going. And then one day they turn on Twitter and they're like, "Oh no, what have we done?"
Oh man, listen. I don't know if you're ready in like the year 2025 when you're like mass producing a giant green Mara Ida bag. I don't know if we're ready for that future yet.
I don't know. We're gonna find out though.
Easy way or the hard way. But everybody, thank you for listening to this debauchery as it's just been unfolding for the last 2 hours. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you enjoy this and want more of this, unfortunately Robert will not be back next week, but I'm sure I'll have to find some way to drag you back on. Well, we'll have a post-mortem over the summer. We'll talk about how much of a painless process this was, because obviously every product launch is painless and there's never any changes at the last minute after the fact.
Nope, never. Not a one.
But big shout-outs, though, to everybody over there and what you guys do. Because you said it's a pretty small team. Like, what's the head count of actual employees you guys have?
Employees? Mm-hmm. It's one. It's me.
Perfect. Man, couldn't even get the wife on board. She said, I'm not ready for this kind of life yet.
No.
So when I was saying this is a one-man show, and you're like, me too, you took that to heart. You're like, this is a one-man show.
Yeah, pretty much. I pretty much do everything with the exception of accounting, because that's what accountants are for.
That's true. Taxes are not fun, as you found out now as a monthly Lithuanian man.
Oh no, I have to do that bit. But the rest of it, my accountant deals with that. I highly recommend you get an accountant if you don't have one and you do this sort of thing. Just save yourself trouble.
Honestly, as soon as you get into any form of a business, stop doing your own taxes. Immediately stop doing it.
Please, just get an accountant.
Now, Robert, the best part about you saying this is you're saying this to a guy whose system is, like, your version of taxes is infinitely easier than ours. So it's doubled for then if you're in the States. It's even messier in North America with business taxes. It's an active minefield.
Wow. So apart from that, and I have a good friend of mine who does the box designs. Outside of that, I do everything else.
That is awesome. That's a lot of work, but I am sure it is rewarding though at the end of the day when you're looking at everything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, you know who doesn't file taxes? Patreon.com/SMTN. Is that because I don't make $600 in a year? I'll let you be the judge on that one, IRS. I'll let you all decide. But if you would like to help me file taxes, you can go support the show on Patreon.com. Get the show early like this one, or last week's show. I'll be up early for anyone who supports the show at $1 or more. Ironically, you have to listen to this show and pay the $1 to know that you're getting it early, but that's the fun of it all. But if you'd like to support the show, get it early, $1 a month. That's all you really need to get included with giveaways, all that other fun stuff. Or if you want me to say your name along with any other various, hopefully not too crude words, $5 to make you an executive producer, just like Jagengis, Budweiser Tall Cans, Carlos Hernandez, Contraband, Cross Ren, Dr. Luma, Kyle Sarah, Patrick Dissart, Philip Meyer, Soul Lair, and Cameron Sharp all have. Thank you guys so much for being executive producers of this. But that's the show. I'm now relinquishing you. What is it, like 8 p.m. where you are?
Yeah, early.
I've stolen your whole dinner now, probably, so I apologize greatly.
That's all right.
But everyone, thank you for listening. We will see you next week with probably just as much Falcom talk, just to really, really confuse everybody. They won't even know what show this is at a certain point. But thank you for listening, and we'll see you later. Bye, everybody.